Hello, lovely people. I wanted to share a quick, sort of off the cuff review with you guys. I was at a screening last night of Eyes of Tammy Faye, which I think is out today, or it might have been yesterday by the time you guys see this. It's directed by Michael Showalter, who worked on the Wet Hot American Summer things and stuff like that. So he has a bit of a kind of comedy background, I'd say. And it stars Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield as Tammy Faye Bakker and her husband. They were real people. So the movie's it's like a biopic, I guess. So they were televangelists. They came to sort of fame in the 70s, I think, 60s, late 60s into the 70s. And they were huge and very, very wealthy. And Tammy Faye was very overdressed. So she was sort of mocked a lot for having too much makeup and that kind of thing. And just for sort of how over the top the two of them were. And then there were a bunch of scandals around them, including embezzlement and fraud charges and stuff like that. So I think everybody kind of was sort of fascinated by them in a way, but then also kind of fascinated by the rise and fall of them. So that's what the movie's about. It's kind of mostly from Tammy Faye's perspective, really. So the most obvious thing about this film is the makeup department, not just because Tammy Faye's makeup is so important to who she was as a person and how she presented herself and that kind of thing, but also because they make Jessica Chastain look so much like her, and her performance of Tammy Faye with the accent and the sort of gestures and her way of holding herself and stuff like that is absolutely amazing. I think that Jessica Chastain may be up for an Oscar or something for this, because it's that kind of a movie. That said, actually, Andrew Garfield is made to look a lot like a lot of people in this movie are based on real people, and the look is recreated really, really well. I kind of liked, I'm not a religious person at all, but I liked that this movie walked a really nice line of focusing on Tammy Faye and her creation of herself. It doesn't really put down televangelists or Christians or anything like that. It's very respectful, I think, of people's feelings about that kind of thing. I thought that was just kind of nice. I think it makes fun of Tammy Faye and her husband a little bit. There's often moments that are very funny. I think the two of them are inherently kind of caricatures. So, they don't kind of shy away from that, but they're just kind of inherently weird and fascinating people. But yeah, I sort of liked that it didn't promote televangelism or any of that kind of stuff, and managed to explore that without, in a very even-handed, respectful way, which I think that's very hard to do. As a film, I think the trailer that I saw before I saw this, it looks very dramatic, and this movie is super dramatic, but it's a lot funnier than I thought it would be. I'm not sure how much of it was intentional, or just that Tammy Faye is kind of just a big personality, or there's a lot of big personalities all clashing, so sometimes that just creates funny moments. The naivety of some of the people in this movie as well is quite amazing. So this film kind of tries to show that Tammy was just drawn along by her husband, whose name is Jim. That's right, of course it's Jim. So she's just kind of pulled along in his train. I feel like maybe I don't know that much about her, so I was kind of well, they're kind of saying that she had nothing to do with anything and she was quite innocent. So that was kind of interesting to me. I felt like she would know where the money was coming from and where it was going a lot more than she did. They live this insanely lavish lifestyle. The sets and locations for this film are really fun. Just this sort of big house, and I just couldn't get over the plush carpet. It's kind of pink plush carpet. It was amazing. So I feel like I'm not sure how it was a different time, and so I think her husband obviously managed their finances. So maybe she just felt like he had it under control and didn't question anything. I don't know, but it just seemed a little bit like, could you be that naive to not know, you know? But the thing that came across in this film for me was how much heart she had. She just seems like maybe misguided, maybe naive, but she genuinely like wants to help, or I mean, she obviously likes the attention of being on TV and sort of being like in her mind, you know, doing God's work or whatever. But I didn't realize she championed people with AIDS and didn't pick and choose who she was trying to reach with her message. There wasn't anyone who wasn't welcome in the church as she saw it. And I didn't know that about her. So I feel like she's naive, but she has a lot of heart. And I ended up really liking how she just accepts everyone, and she's not mean-spirited. And she kind of sticks it to the boys sometimes as well. I won't spoil anything, but there's a scene where she sort of looks around and she decides to go sit at the boys' table. And I was like, that's really like crossing the lines of what's acceptable. But I really liked her for that. So, yeah, I found her a lot more likable than I really thought I would. So I think that's a really good thing about this film. It tells a really good story. It tells it really well. It tells it with a little bit of humor, but also with a lot of compassion and a lot of heart. And I think that's really fun. I think one thread of this film was Tammy's relationship with her mother. And I really liked the actress who played her mother. I thought she played it so well. I loved the contrast of this very devout woman. It was sort of like if the mother was like a little sparrow, then Tammy was like a peacock. Like they're so different, but and there's this sort of push-pull in their relationship. And yeah, I just thought that was really, really added a layer for me of like understanding. You hear my cat? Hi, Grimmy. Did you like the movie? Do you have anything else to say, Grim? No? Okay. I think he gets Grim's approval. So yeah, I think there was a point maybe in the last third where I felt like the film was just a little bit long. That would probably be my only criticism. But it definitely feels like Oscar bait or festival bait. It's so good. And Jessica Chastain's just chewing up the screen, and her and Andrew Garfield are just so good. They have chemistry and something kind of sparkly between them. And then there are scenes where their marriage isn't going so well and the sparks are flying. They're just really, really good and really support each other's performances really well. So yeah, I think I felt very sorry for Tammy being sort of with a husband who is the way he is. They're both big personalities. They both have things they want, and sometimes they're not on the same team. And he was quite mean to her sometimes and laughed at her, and I felt really bad for her. But I think that's the point of the film, is to kind of make you see that everyone is a human being. Everyone is fallible. These people may be more fallible than other people. They're kind of ridiculous, and yet they're still human beings with real feelings. And yeah, I thought that was really clever, because these are the kind of people that, you know, people that take money from people for false pretenses or for religious reasons and don't pay taxes and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing I really hate. So to be able to humanize that for me I thought was really clever. I'm not really like taken in by stuff like that. So yeah, I think if you have thought that you might like to see this, or maybe if you were thinking maybe you didn't want to see it, maybe it didn't appeal to you, I would recommend it because I think it's something a little bit different, and it has some excellent performances, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I just had a really good time seeing it. So yeah, and I like that after this I'm kind of curious to know more about Tammy as a person, and I kind of, after watching it, I was like, I really want to get my nails done. She has these long nails throughout the whole movie, so yeah, I don't know. Obviously I'm not convinced that she's maybe as innocent as she comes across in this movie. Maybe they don't make her too innocent, but there's sort of an element that maybe she wasn't as complicit as her husband was, but I'll take that with a pinch of salt, you know? But it's a good story. And yeah, lots of twists and turns and ups and downs. So definitely recommend this one if you were on the fence about it. I think you might be pleasantly surprised.